Do you have a desire to retire early? Because I do. That's for sure. From the very first day I started working, 21 years old in corporate, I had a desire to retire early. Not because I'm lazy. I enjoy working, but I didn't necessarily enjoy working in corporate, but I did it for 20 years. Bizarre. But the reality is that I have had a desperation to be able to do exactly what I want to do when I want to do it, and not necessarily have to, fill out KPIs, team meetings, away days, whatever it necessarily is. I like what I like to do, and I want to do more of it. Listen, this is not a new concept. It's, for the last couple of 100 years have we really been indoctrinated into this world of, get to 16, work until the day you die. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that. Prior to that, I mean, humans have been around for 10,000 years. Prior to that, we didn't do that. We did what we needed to do to get enough food and resources for our families. And we spent time in communities together with our family, enjoying our time, crafting, making things. And really, I would like to go back to some sort of form of that. That's the life that I want to lead, the life that I've always wanted to lead. And there's a lot of people out there that are the same. So let's go over some of the tools that you need to be able to understand and use in order to be able to achieve that. First of all, financial independence, retire early. It's a concept we've heard loads of times. Let's go over that dead quickly. We'll break it into two. Financial independence is having enough assets to cover your liabilities. What the hell does that mean? It basically means having enough money coming in to pay for the things that are going out. It could mean having an investment portfolio. It could mean using a pension. It could mean having businesses that pay you. It could mean even having crypto if that's your thing. It's not necessarily mine. But those assets, right? We've heard the term a million times before. Those are basically products that pay us, right? It's what the rich people do all of the time, right? And you can get a slice of it. So having enough of those assets that pay your liabilities. Your liabilities are your outgoing, your rent, your mortgage, your food, your utilities, your car, your transport, whatever it is if you need it. And in order to get to that point, you need to understand a couple of numbers. You need to first of all understand what your liabilities are. So what does it cost you to live on a year-by-year basis? What are all of those expenses added up? Let's use some really simple maths. So if you only needed £10,000 per year to live, right, to pay all of your bills and to live a lifestyle that you want to live, you therefore then need some sort of portfolio of assets that are going to cover that. And it needs to come to the value of at least £250,000. This is the 25 rule. So it comes from the Trinity study. I did go over it in detail before, so we won't labor on it. So £10,000 means you need £250,000 in assets. If you need £40,000 per year, that means you need £1 million in assets. And once you reach that point, you are financially independent. The retire early bit can be somewhat controversial. A lot of people really do want to retire early. I get a lot of grief from people saying, why would you want to do that? You'll be bored. You'll be back at work in 2 years. I promise you, I wouldn't. But it does give you the option to retire if you want to retire or not, right? It gives you the freedom. And there is so much power in that freedom. Even along the journey, as you're going along towards it, you know that every pound you're putting away into your assets are going to be covering your future liabilities. And it gives you confidence as well when you come across those bumps in the road in life. You might lose your job like I did, or anything and everything might possibly happen. If you've started on your journey towards that financial independence, you'll be some way along there, and it helps you sleep at night so much better, right? I'm halfway through my journey now, and I'm in a very fortunate position of money not really being a significant worry of mine, right? I get annoyed if the tumble dryer breaks or if I have to fix a car and I have to put an outlay on it, but it doesn't control me anymore like it used to. And I think coming from a background where I didn't have any money means that level of security you get from an asset portfolio, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable sense of freedom. So I do want to eventually reach a point, like I know a lot of you guys do as well, where everything is covered, right? I'm not just talking about things going wrong. I'm talking about my entire expenses of life, of living a decent life, are covered by my portfolio. You'll have to excuse my voice today. I am getting over a chest infection, but you'll just have to bear with me. I'm still making the content at the end of the day, right? In order to get there, I did cover this last time as well. We're not going to go into detail. Your 9 to 5 is your powerhouse, right? You need money to be able to put in to that portfolio in order to achieve it. For me, that's an investment portfolio. All right, that's using stocks and shares, ISAs, and my pensions to invest into the market. I am relatively aggressive with that as well. I have a very small proportion of my investments in alternative assets like gold, like bonds. I do have an allocation, but a small allocation, but I'm pretty much all in an all world. That's the majority of where my investments are. In order to be able to put more money into the market, you need to be able to have some sort of career progression of some sort, whatever that may be, and whatever your field is. That could be corporate, that could be a trade of some sort, but you need to be able to increase your income in order to be able to put some of that into the market. And that's the second principle, right? This is stolen from Andrew Craig. You need to live on less and invest the rest. Whatever you're earning, you need to be able to find yourself in a position where you're not spending all of it. Right? First of all, you've got the things that you have to pay, your bills, your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, etc. You have to pay them. You have to eat. You have to have a level of enjoyment in your life and have some experiences and do the things that you want to do. But can you find a balance whereby that you're getting to a point where there's a buffer there? And instead of using that buffer and flitting it away on designer goods and cars and houses, you're putting it to work to buy your financial independence. So as your career progresses and you're earning a bit more, can you, instead of allowing lifestyle inflation to come into play, right, whereby you're earning more, you're spending more, you're putting more and more into the market? It's exactly what I did in order to get myself to a point where I'm halfway towards financial independence. So that first part, live on less, right? Make sure you don't have lifestyle inflation. The second part, invest the rest. Put it into the market. That bit's tricky, right? What are you going to invest into? And if you don't know how to start investing or anything around that sort of vein, I've got loads of videos in my backlog. Go through them, use those tools, read those books I mentioned. You will find yourself in a position very quickly after not that much work where you know exactly what it is you need to do. Then, as boring as it may be, you need to understand what the tools are that are going to enable you to do it. And if you're UK based, like 90% of my audience is, there's a couple of very important tools that you need to be aware of. We're not going to labor on them because a lot of you will know them, but let's just quickly cover them. Your pension, which is of course incredibly tax efficient. However, it does only allow you to access it. Current rules are 57, a little bit less if you're a little bit older than me, but I'm aiming that that's going to be around 57, 58 by the time that I can access it. But I want to retire at 50, which means I need a tool in order to bridge that gap, and that's a stocks and shares ISA. My plan very quickly is to get to £500,000 by the time I'm 50, which is going to allow me to take out 5%. I'm going for 5%, which is £25,000 to bridge the gap between 50 and 57, which I'll then be able to access my private pension. That's on track to be worth around £700,000. So if I take 5% of that out of the £500,000 out between 50 and 57, I'm aiming to still have around maybe £400,000 left when I incorporate the growth in that, which means I could have over £1 million by the time I'm 57. So pensions are critical, as we mentioned. However, they have the biggest issue in terms of not being able to access them until they're 57. And the goalposts are moving all of the time. Right, we don't know what the next government's going to do. That could go back for all we know. So if you have any desire to retire before pension age, you do need to think a little bit differently. And I'm using stocks and shares ISAs. And one of the ones that I'm using is XTB, actively using in my portfolio. Basically because they're a commission-free platform, FCA regulated, your cash is protected under FSCS protection, and they offer an incredibly competitive interest rate on the cash that you hold within the account. And even better, right now, there is limited availability on this. They are giving away a Intel share, which is a high value share, to anyone that uses my link and promo code Neil. You need to do both of those things. If you don't use the promo code, you won't qualify for that higher share. So make sure you do use that. So you need to be a new customer. You need to deposit within 7 days. You need to use that link and promo code Neil, and you will qualify for that free Intel share. It is a phenomenal offer. Take advantage of it while the availability remains. The link is below in the description. Right, along this way, on this journey to financial independence, there are some things that you need to be aware of and you need to avoid. First of all, timing the market, right? This is the first couple of psychological. You are not going to be able to time the market. The vast majority of people should be putting their money in when they have availability of it. That often means setting up a direct debit at the beginning of the month, not at the end. If you wait till the end, it'll disappear. You'll spend it. Set up a direct debit at the beginning of the month to invest into the market. Second thing is not being consistent, right? Life happens, right? The amount that you put in every month might not be exactly the same. Your job might change. Your circumstances might change. You might get more dependents. You might want to go on holiday one year, whatever it may be. But you need to stay consistent by putting as much in as you possibly can. Accept the fact that there will be times when you can't put as much in. I haven't been able to put as much in this year. Haven't been made redundant last year. But I am trying to put in as much as I can still, because I know with every pound that's going in, I'm buying my future financial independence. And that's worth so much to me. And finally, if you don't have an emergency fund, you're probably going to trip yourself up at one point, because you do not want to interrupt that flow, that compounding. You do not necessarily want to be having to take money out of your investments in order to pay for something that crops up. So have an emergency fund. It only needs to be 3 to 4 months, but it means if the boiler breaks, if the washing machine breaks, if your car needs some repairs you didn't expect, you're covered. You have to prepare yourself that there will be bumps in the road. The market doesn't go up like that. It goes up like that. Yesterday I did a live for an hour on TikTok, and half of the comments were like, the market's crashing. What should we do? Shall I sell out now at this point? I hadn't even looked at it. When I did then ask someone, how much has it gone down by? 0.7%. 0.7% the market had gone down by. So you got to get yourself in a mind frame that is normal market volatility. There will be days it goes down a lot more than that. I guarantee you in the future, in your investment timeline, you will see crashes. Get yourself in a mind frame where you're aware they're coming. Historically, every crash in the history of markets, the market has returned and gone on to new all-time highs. If you are in a place where you are going to panic when the market goes down, you're going to realize a loss, you're going to sell out, and you're never going to get back in again, you won't achieve financial independence. It is as simple as that. Keep it sensible, invest for the long term, ups, downs, lefts, rights, it doesn't matter, just keep on going. I said this on a short form the other day. I'm going to make a commitment on the long form as well. I guarantee I will never sell out of my portfolio until the point that I reach financial independence. If you want some reassurance along the journey, right, we went through 2022 together. Some of you that used to follow me then, the whole year was in the red, right? I started investing just before COVID. My portfolio went down 40%. I kept buying, and I will always buy. If you want that reassurance, just follow along. We'll go through it together. And finally, boring is best. You aren't Warren Buffett as much as you might think you are, as much as the last year might have told you. We're talking about into decades investment here. 1 year can be very dangerous. It can actually be really dangerous to your long-term gains. If you've seen some phenomenal gains in some of the individual stocks that you've picked, all of a sudden, recency bias, confirmation bias come into play. You think that you're Warren Buffett and you can retire a billionaire. That, for most people, will trip them up. I promise you it will. I've seen it happen time and time again. People losing hundreds of thousands of pounds because they think they can find the next Microsoft. I have the very vast majority of my investments in an all-world fund, and that will always be the case. I've got a small allocation into some other assets, some gold, some bonds, but that is very small. My approach is an all-world majority, invest into it regularly, do it for decades. It sounds like a broken record. Up, down, left, right. Keep going. I have built a financial independence tracker, which I'm going to be launching on my next video. So I'll go over that. It basically goes over everything. So how much your expenses are at the moment, what the rate of return will be, how much you need to invest, what the timeline of that associated look like, tracking it on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, how you can then yourself achieve financial independence. So look out for that in the next video. I've had it built. It's ready to go. I just need to do all the background stuff. So that's it. That's the plan to financial independence in 10, 12 minutes. It is as simple as that, right? There is some complexity to it, and the psychology aside, is going to be your biggest threat to achieving this. But that's the approach I'm taking, and it's no more complicated than that. Let me know if you've got any builds or questions.